A warning for Americans. Hi, my name is Ross McLean. I'm a former law enforcement officer, former close protection specialist for billionaires, and I worked for a U.S. global Fortune 50 company. I understand security on both sides of the border and across North America. And I'm here to tell you, as America, you better wake up to the threat that is Canada on the northern border. Now, Kash Patel, no less, has warned that Canada is now a threat, as the bad guys, the criminals, the enemies of the U.S. are now using the northern border as a way of entering. Is Canada an ally or an enemy to the United States? I've done other videos on this in the past on my channel. This current government is working against the U.S. at every single opportunity, it seems, and it concerns me for the security of Canada and for my brothers and sisters in the U.S. It's not only Kash Patel saying that, me saying that. We've had many inquiries into money laundering about how Canada is like one of the easiest money laundering countries in the world to deal with. America fined a Canadian bank some $2 billion for money laundering that was going on regarding fentanyl. Be aware of this. Now, I'm going to play for you a radio interview I do with Mark Patrone. He's on Saga 960 in the Toronto GTA area. They have an audience of about 1.5 million, potential audience of 4 million people. I get to speak to them there once a week or so on different issues regarding security and politics. Now, this is the interview I gave to him. He called me up. Say, Ross, what do you think about what Kash Patel is saying about Canada for being a threat? I have another video on the largest fentanyl super lab found anywhere in Canada that was running drugs down to the US, and how somehow we haven't really done anything about that. So pay attention, America. I hope you enjoy this radio interview.
At my signal, unleash hell.
It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
September the 19th, our friend Ross McLean is on the line. Ross, of course, is a security expert. We love to pick his brain when it comes to issues involving border security. We played this earlier. Kash Patel, director of the FBI, coming out and saying, you know, it's not such a big problem south of the on the southern border. It is a big problem, however, in the northern border between the United States and Canada. Let's listen.
It's our northern border. It's largely expansive. The enemy has adapted, and we need more focus on the northern border to stop known or suspected terrorists from coming in from places like China, Russia, the Middle East, Africa, Afghanistan.
And what can you tell us about the remaining threat posed by potential terrorist cells here in the United States?
The terrorist threat that continues to be posed by international terrorists here in the United States is one of my highest priorities. We are working through our intelligence community partners to identify those individuals, and we've taken down numerous individuals in numerous rings across this country.
Anyway, Ross, you heard what the FBI director had to say. Apparently, Canada is the problem now in terms of being a staging area for terrorist threats against the United States. Are you surprised?
No, and I will tell you, Mark, what I heard that rang out the loudest is what Kash Patel did not say. What he said is that the enemy, and he identified the enemy, China, Russia, Mexico, cartels, he listed them all there, has adapted and is now using the northern border to gain access into the U.S. And then he said, I am working with our team, our northern states, and our people to try and reduce this threat. You never heard him say, I'm working with Canada to reduce this threat. You know why? Because Canada is not working with the U.S. to reduce the threat of fentanyl, money laundering, organized crime, and terrorism that is now coming across the northern border and into their country. They're not working with them on it. And I'm going to tell you why that's especially key. There's a guy who works on Trump's team. His name is Stephen Mirren. He's an economist guy. He would put Carney to bed trying to arguing about trade and whatnot. He wrote a paper in 2024 that is the basis for all of Trump's policies on tariffs, trades, and working together. I'll post it later on my X. He works at Hudson's Bay Capital, and one of the points he makes in there is that if a country does not want to work with us on security, defense, and trade, then they're against us. They're not for us, and they should get nothing. So when Kash Patel is not working with the Canadians. And by the way, whoever's seen our fentanyl czar, he's nowhere. He's not countering any of this. It's a very serious problem here. This is going to impact completely any trade deal with the U.S., any trade deal, Mark.
Yeah, I would expect so. I mean, the question I would have is, why isn't Canada working with, is this part of the elbows up campaign? I mean, are we turning a blind eye to this type of activity as a not so subtle way to make a dig at the administration in Washington? What's going on here? I mean, it's just a no-brainer, as far as I can tell, that we would work with the Americans in order to shut down these networks.
You would think that, wouldn't you? Shutting down fentanyl networks that are killing people, ruining cities all over North America, including in Canada. Lots of people have died in Canada from this. But no, we're not working with it. And I have to say, is it just by accident? No, my belief is I judge people. I listen to them as an investigator for what they say, what they don't say, what they say their actions are, and what they actually do. And this Carney government, since they come in, he just says whatever people want to hear. He embellishes. I was a great negotiator. I'm a great crisis guy. I've done big deals before. He goes on. Like, no one loves himself more than Mark Carney, right? And he says all these things, but he doesn't follow through on any of them. And I've actually done some videos on my YouTube channel about, is Canada an ally or an enemy to the U.S.? And I cover all of these areas where the Liberal government works against the U.S. On Israel, whenever Trump goes to try and nail down the hostages and get them out, they come out with a statement supporting Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump says, there's no way you're arresting him. Carney's government says we're going to arrest him. They just announced that they're going to name Antifa as a terrorist organization. Canada is not going in line with that, despite the fact we have a massive Antifa problem in Canada that also flows down into the U.S. I know that from some intelligence sources, that they do that. And all this talk, I'll just finish with this one point, Mark.
Yeah,
all this talk about no drugs flow from Canada into the U.S., I just talked a couple of weeks ago with one of the top undercover drug investigators who only works on the largest of cases. And he tells me they have not even scratched the surface of the drugs that go back and forth, not even scratched the surface. So that's where we're sitting. We're called a narco state by some people. So we need this. This is serious. This is very serious.
Yeah, I mean, even if you hate the Trump administration and don't give a damn about their people, I mean, we've lost thousands of people who've died from fentanyl poisoning. I mean, 38,800 since 2016, just from fentanyl, not from other overdosings and other drugs. So you would think that would be an issue for our government, but I can distinctly remember early on Mark Carney saying it was not a crisis. So apparently the deaths of all these Canadians is just another day in the neighborhood. Last word to you, my friend.
Oh, well, once again, you can tell by his actions. He's cutting the RCMP budget by 2%. And remember, we're running like 5-7% inflation. So he's sending a signal to them about how they better behave, or they're not going to get any money. So the security issues between Canada and the U.S., he doesn't care, and it's going to impact every Canadian's wallet on the deal.
I mean, how much better behavior can they expect from the RCP? They won't investigate liberals. What else does he want? Anyway, this is ridiculous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your expertise on this issue, Ross, and I know you're going to keep a close eye on it and come back to update our listeners.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Mark.
Well, absolutely. Thank you. All right. So there you go. That's the situation in terms of Canada and our deteriorating relationship with the United States.